Well, hello, this is Rochelle and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a double entry. I'm going to be doing an entry in my faith journal. This is a craft dot journal by Archer and Olive. I love this journal. I love the size of it. I love the color and the feel of it. Really pretty, and I was very thankful to have been able to bring it in from the United States with a friend who came through. And I'm also using the Never Alone printable by his palette. This is a kit printable, so there's lots of words and study and verses relating to that. And I'm going to skip over a few of the cutting parts of this just because, like I said, it's a jam-packed, beautiful, lots to use printable, and really love that. So using that messy scribble technique around the verses so that I can easily cut them out. That just helps me to get over my has to be perfectly square 90-degree angle cutting. And then I'm using my Fude hard tip brush marker by Faber-Castell. These are new. They have a Fude hard tip and a Fude medium tip. It's very much like the Tombow Fude pens, just obviously Faber-Castell Fude pens, and they are Pitt artists, so they have the India ink, which doesn't bleed and is permanent, color fast, light fast, doesn't move when mixed with water, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to be using that in a little bit in both my Bible and in my journal. Like I said, this is just such a jam-packed devotional, and the flowers and everything about this just really spoke to me, these little Polaroids. So definitely wanting to use all of that. I did scribble with a B pencil, so just a normal pencil, but a B, so blackness, on the back of the Never Alone titles on both sides, and I'm letting that just kind of sit in the background for a while there while I'm using the squid ink gelato to just lay down some color in the background. I'm also going to be using that squid ink gelato with a makeup blending sponge through this stencil that I got from Selah Art, just to kind of lay down some gentle images in the back of these little hearts, just speaking of never being alone. And then using my Gold Faber Aqua Dual markers. These are a watercolor marker, very juicy. They've got a very fine tip on the one end and a brush marker side on the other. So lots of color payoff there. And no bleed, which is also great. Well, no bleed in this cardstock. It does bleed a little in the Bible, especially if you add water to that, because it is just so juicy. And so I'm just taking whatever flowers I cut off, adding them elsewhere, and then putting those Polaroid kind of goodies in there in between the flowers. The Polaroids are of, you can see, just kind of despondent people, and it kind of shouted at me, and some of the verses speaking here just assures us that we are not alone. We are never alone. And so now I scribbled behind this title, and I'm writing over it with a pencil, a sharp pencil, and then I have that baseline to kind of do the lettering in the same font, using that baseline or that traced element, carbon, if you want to compare it, carbon element, to have that Never Alone title in that font on there. And then just adding some more of those hearts where they have kind of gotten lost in the background. I love the smushed with the hearts. It just, to me, it speaks to that not being alone, not feeling alone element. So really, pretty much the rest of this video is the exact same thing. Nothing completely different. I use those hands because I loved the kind of feel of God reaching out all the time. It's us that moves. It's not him. He's there constantly. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He's forever just ready waiting for us, and unfortunately we move in disobedience, in sin, in putting self over what we know is right. We move out of the grasp and the grip of God and the covering of God. And so, yes, there's why we are partially feeling alone. I want to read to you from Psalm 20, verse 6, and it says, "Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand." And that's the verse that I'm going to be journaling here in my Bible. And I'm going to be adding just some music in the background here for you because, as I said, really pretty much exactly the same thing, except that I'm going to be adding some color to the hands using my Black Edition Faber-Castell pencils, and they're lovely. So yes, that's that then. So it really doesn't need to be like super artsy. You just need to kind of have the background there. I'm doing that same technique with scribbling at the back of this title and then using it as a carbon trace to get that font down onto my page, and that I'm going to use that Fude pen, the Pitt artist pen, to just go over what I've traced. Now, because it is on pencil, I scribbled with pencil and it is an actual carbon paper, it's easier to erase if I do have lines that I don't want to exactly use the way that they are. Do go check out a live that I did on the His Palette Bible journaling or Facebook Bible journaling community. They allowed me to do a live there with another set of printables where I also did 2 entries, very much in the same style, just getting some background onto the page and then using the printables. It really is just so easy with these printables to be able to spend time in the Word and have beautiful pages. It's just lots of fun. I did use a light blue brush pen just to add some shadows to that Never Alone, and then adding ink to my date stamp with a brush pen to give my page a date, and then calling that my entry. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks, Kimberly, for these beautiful printables. See you again soon. Bye-bye.